Well, welcome everybody to the best small business show. We've got a great topic that I think BJ and I have been talking about over the past few months is in-person networking dead? Is it
And
dead?
I don't, I think with the drop of events since 2020, you know, and Zoom just like beats having coffee and lunch meetups, this is what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, I've been noticing like BJ, you and I are in formal groups like BNI and Gotham, and I go and check out, and the amount of groups have dropped significantly in the last 5 years.
I know it's so amazing. And the importance of networking is still there. It's still
Yeah.
essential for small businesses. So I'm not sure what our topic will be very good for today.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you can't. It's like you can't live in a bubble. You have to get out there and meet people. Unfortunately, these formalized events are non-existent. So there's a shift that's happening. And I feel that there's a shift. It could be a generational shift. It could be just a timing shift. It could be a technological shift. We don't know, but
Mhm.
BJ and I are going to talk all about this. So, BJ, what do you think is driving this decline since 2020?
You know what? I think a lot of it is the pandemic's push to go online, to be virtual.
Hmm.
And, Zoom habits have stuck. I have clients who, as you know, I live, a couple different places, and everybody's like, let's just Zoom. And I'm thinking, I came down here, you know, and,
Yeah,
everybody wants to do Zoom. What do you do?
yeah. It's real easy to do it virtual because you don't have to travel, you don't have to find parking, you just
Yes.
log in and you're talking and seeing each other.
Right. And you're wearing comfortable clothes, which is really great. And,
Yes.
and when we were preparing for this, we talked about how that ongoing health worries, like where everybody's nervous about the flu, RSV, COVID, anything, I think they still feel nervous. I think that they feel it's risky.
Yeah, I think even with like the flu catching things, but hopefully now the spring's coming, we'll be doing a little bit better. But I also
Yeah.
think, it could be generational differences that, millennials and Gen Z tend to lean more digital than in person. What do you think?
Yeah. I see my young adults, my kids, and they're definitely all online.
Yeah.
They're one of them has a very remote job, one has an in-person job, but they're both very technological, and that's just part of their life, And I also think that tech upgrades accelerated so much in 2020, and they are going like wildfire even now.
Yeah,
Think of where Zoom and Teams, they make you feel like you're close and in person. We're a perfect example of
exactly.
this. Anytime
We're-
we want to go on, let's go on Zoom for a minute. Yeah.
And
It's
also I feel like physical perks, like you don't have to pay for a venue to have
oh
this
big. That's
networking
big.
event,
Yeah.
or you don't have to gauge in travel time. That was one thing clients had because I had offices in New York, Stanford, and New Haven, and clients, 5 years ago were happy to come, but they were starting to say, Rich, for me to come visit you, it's like a half an hour in the car on the subway. It's an hour
Yeah.
with you, and then it's a half an hour back. And I go, I'm losing like 3 hours out of my day compared to if we just log on, we could start coaching immediately.
Yeah. And you know what? I think that a lot of people, Rich, feel that the virtual fits
Hmm.
into their busy schedules. Like they feel like they can pack more in. Oh, but I'm going to have my Rich session,
Yeah.
and it's like dropped into this middle of their day, and they like it that way. I don't know. I mean, how do you feel about like global reach?
Oh, absolutely. After in the last 5 years, my coaching practice has exploded. I have a client in California. I have two in Florida. I have two in Canada. It's not just New York Metro anymore.
Right.
I mean, I've had clients in Romania, in the UK.
UK was big. You had a lot of people in the UK.
Exactly. So you can connect beyond local limits now.
Yeah. And you know what really surprises me, and we've talked about this so many times on our podcast, is the fact that different personality types are thriving in this environment. Introverts love online,
Yeah.
absolutely love online, or people who are methodical will talk at 2 o'clock. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just love that ability to fit it in.
Well, and let's take extrapolate this out. I mean, there's
Okay.
some major environmental wins too.
Mhm.
Less travel, less on the road, less carbon footprint going out there. I had to say something like that, but it's true.
I know, but I was getting really good. I mean, I am an airport junkie,
Yes.
right? I love flying. I love travel. I love all that stuff. We've talked about that. And but it's okay. I kind of feel like it's okay. So anyway, I mean, I feel like yes, networks evolving. It's not dying. The pandemic tech generations at play. These are all happening. Things are
Yep.
going on. But I think there's things that we can do. Absolutely.
Absolutely. So, what BJ and I have done is we've come up with 4 action items to help you extrapolate out your networking. So, the first action item is hybrid events. So,
Yes.
what's the appeal, BJ, about a hybrid event?
Well, I think it suits everybody, right? Some people love the in person, so they're going to show up and they're going to all be together. Some people like to stay virtual. We have a Chamber of Commerce board meeting and we split it. And it is still very engaging. People are used to it. They're used to talking to the screen talking the other way. It's excellent.
Yeah, and also with like live streams on Zoom and other tools, you could have chats that make it seamless.
Yeah.
You could have in-person chats and also Zoom chats. So it really works out well.
Yeah. And I have a couple of people, like we had one guy recovering from surgery. We needed him on that call. No problem. He
Yeah.
was on it. Everything worked out fantastic. You got to be able to be that flexible person, right?
Absolutely. I remember I ran a workshop for a reinsurance company, and this is going back about 8 years ago. And I was all set. I'm in a suit. I'm ready to go. I show up, and they bring me to this huge conference room, which has like 6 screens. And suddenly I go, "Is anybody coming in person?" They went, "Nope, you're all virtual." And
Oh
so I
my.
did like a 4 hour workshop by myself in a conference room to about 12 people. So
Oh
that was a
no.
great hybrid event.
It was. It was lonely, but it was good. All right,
Exactly.
let's do action number two. Focus on quality over quantity. This is so important because I think you get the concept of it's got to match what an in-person network event is. It does not
Exactly.
have to. Why does this matter? Why does this
Well,
matter, Rich?
well, basically, you've got, when you go to an event and there's 100 people there, you're just shaking hands and handing business cards to each other. And people are worried they're not going to meet enough people. So there's a
Oh yeah.
lot of glad handing, I call it. When you focus on one person, like have lunch with that person or coffee with that person, it's one on one, and there's more importance, more of a deeper connection rather than a shallow one.
Yeah. I think you come away with more knowledge about what their needs are, right? What the pain points are, what's happening in their business. And it's also you get to know them personally. as a person, what are their hobbies, what are they doing? And that's just such valuable information. Am I right?
Absolutely. It's kind of funny. I had a virtual networking meeting with someone this week, and it literally lasted 15 minutes because at the end of 15 minutes, it was like, okay, I'm done. There wasn't that personal connection. There wasn't that, what can I do for you? How can I help you?
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, you're always good that way.
yeah.
But if the other people are not comfortable with that exchange, it's a short meeting. It's short.
Yeah.
What do you do?
And when you're meeting someone in person for lunch or coffee or drinks, you know, you follow up to keep those ties strong because you've made that physical, personal connection with them.
Yeah. And you use all that little knowledge in your email. You kind
Yeah.
of say things like, oh, you were talking about, here's a Bass Pro Shop thing I thought you'd be really enjoy. It's great to have like that connection for sure. But I also agree. I also think it's about trust.
Yeah.
You're building trust when you're together. And so you're not just collecting all these different names. You're actually starting to build that trust relationship with a client, a potential client, that I think is essential for sure. But you know what? Many of us might wonder, right, Rich, about how to take your business networking to the next level. I think a lot of people wonder about this. And sometimes people are like, it's a jump start, or maybe it's like, your business is on life support. It's a common challenge. And that's where my podcast buddy, Rich G, comes in. That's right. His business coaching is not just business coaching, just any kind of coaching. It's customized, it's crafted, especially for your business needs. No outdated curriculum or assessments are complete. Whether you are looking to increase revenue, improve efficiency, expand your market share, Rich has the expertise to guide you. Don't wait. Call Rich today. Visit richg.com, great website, to start your journey towards business success.
Yeah, and small business owners, it's time to make your marketing remarkable. My podcast partner at New Renew, BJ Flagg, is your partner in success. With her expertise in brand marketing and website design and a real passion for helping small businesses thrive, she'll help you create a brand that resonates and a digital presence that impresses. Visit newrenew.com today and start your journey to marketing excellence.
Excellence is for sure. And this action item that we're
Yes,
going to do is utilizing social media. Yeah, BJ gets to put this in, utilizing social media and online platforms.
absolutely. Moving to like social media, where do you network online, BJ?
Okay, LinkedIn, a lot of back and forth and back and forth. Um, I do threads, love threads, blue sky, that type of thing. Instagram is interesting. It is still a hot kind of thing. What about you? What do you like to
Oh,
do?
absolutely. LinkedIn is my major focus just
Oh yeah.
because I'm working with executives and stuff, but
Mhm.
I do find I do drop stuff on Instagram. I have it all laid out when I write an article. What's funny is I get a tremendous amount of business from my Google page, just my business page.
Isn't
I
that
keep it updated with
great?
my articles. I
Yep.
ask all of my clients to give me testimonials.
Hmm.
We have to do a podcast on why I'm at 4.9 stars and not five, because
Oh,
one client gave me a 4 star. And I actually did
yeah.
the math, and it's going to take me 89 testimonials to get to
Reviews,
5.0.
unbelievable.
Yeah, so we have to talk
God,
more about
Google.
that.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what is so funny is, because I do B2B, B2C, I am in the other, I need presence there. because they're going to want me to also be on and that kind of thing. And what I notice is people are they like being authentic. They like people to be, really themselves, and they learn more about themselves. I love it.
So, I find also engagement is important.
Yeah.
You need to be real in the engagement. Like when a client leaves me a testimonial in my Google page or on my Google page, I respond. I thank them. I go,
Yeah.
thank you so much, because most people don't do that. They just accumulate testimonials. They don't do anything. It's like, no, people read the gratitude that I'm giving that client. So
Oh, for
don't
sure.
just post. You need to interact. That's the whole meaning of social media. You need to interact with people.
Now, do you do a lot of DMs?
Yeah, I DM a lot of people in LinkedIn, especially people I want to meet.
Hmm.
Um, I'll be talking to a client and they mention somebody important in their life. And
Yeah.
I'll actually say, do you mind if I reach out to that person on LinkedIn and use your name? And they go, absolutely.
You
And I'll
just did
direct
that the other
message that
day.
person and I'll
Right.
say, by the way, Aaron and I were having a conversation about you, and you sounded so interesting. I wanted to link up with you on LinkedIn. And they're
Yeah.
like, Rich, so glad to meet you, and blah, 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 blah.
Right. But do you see how you did that?
Yeah.
That's not a stock letter that
Yes.
you put in 50 people's mailboxes.
Yeah.
No, 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 no. It is a personalized kind of thing, and somebody reacts personally. It
Yeah.
can spark the best conversations.
Yeah. I stalk people in other ways. So,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. But do you feel like, a lot of people don't underestimate LinkedIn?
Yeah, they do. They don't. I mean, there are people that abuse it, and we all know who those people are that just
Yeah.
constantly blast. I get people from all countries hitting me. Rich, why are you on my contact list and all this stuff? And it's
Oh,
like, stop it. When you reach out to someone, you need to be authentic. You need to actually talk to them in a language that they care about. You would need to say, like I did. I said, Aaron and I were talking about you, and I thought we'd connect. And they immediately connect with me.
oh, for sure, because they're friends with Aaron, they're business
Yeah.
connected, and they immediately are interested.
Yeah.
It's such a different feel. So, action number 4 that we should really bring in is create your own networking opportunities. This is tricky
Yeah.
because if you're not an extrovert, you're an introvert. So, give it to me, Rich.
Yeah.
What are some things?
One big thing that you should do is maybe do it like a virtual entrepreneur meetup yourself.
Oh, I love it.
It doesn't
That's
need to be a
good.
cast of thousands. It could be, let's get 5 or 6 people together for drinks after work, or let's meet for breakfast. Let's have a breakfast meeting. I did this for years with 4 other women that were of this women's group. I got hooked
Oh,
into it, and we met for years. And it was
yeah.
like we'd meet once a month for breakfast, and they became close friends. It was great.
Yeah. And you know what I love? We have a place in town called Le Pen and Le Pen Côtier. It is so much fun because they have a gigantic community table. And the trick is, how many people can you get on the community table?
Yes.
That's the trick. And I love doing it because I will call a whole bunch of people and say, hey, let's get it together. You got to get 3 people. And the whole thing's filled. It is
Yeah.
so much fun. We always have to warn them. But it is good. It is good. Lots of fun.
Yeah, people crave connection.
Yeah.
They really do. And if you don't overwhelm me, say, look, let's just get together once a month for
Yeah.
an hour or
Right.
an hour and a half
Low
and
bar,
have
low
good
bar.
food. I try to meet everybody. My office is in Stanford. So whenever I offer up a restaurant, I always say Colony Grill Pizza, which is well
Oh,
known in the
come
Connecticut
on.
area, and
Best
it's a
place.
real like swanky, low key bar, and everybody goes, "Oh yeah, let's meet there." That sounds. I haven't been there in years, so
Right. They all have incredibly great memories. I'm more of a coffee shop
yeah,
person. We have a great place in town called Zoombox Coffee. And in the better weather, you get your coffee, everybody's sitting outside, and
yeah,
that place is packed. And it's great. It's like jubilant, if you know what I mean.
yeah.
It's casual. People are all just having fun. It's not, like you're sitting in the booth and you're like this. It's out in the open. I love doing that. That's such a great feeling for
And
sure.
it's something else you might do is like niching, like keep it like retail owners roundtable, or
Oh, I
restaurants.
love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
keep it together. And you pull in the right crowd. Initially, people might go, well, they're my competition. And I go, yes and no. You're going to learn from each other. And if you work together, you don't have to
Yeah.
do pizza places, but if you do restaurants in New Canaan, they all
Right.
get together. They could talk about problems and software and people and that sort of thing.
Exactly. And you know what? When you're talking about niching, it's like all the lawyers together.
Yeah.
Get together. Just you're half an hour before you go off to your house. Just get together a little bit. All of a sudden, your synergies are there.
Yeah.
You're put on to a divorce attorney that will help one of your clients. I just love doing that.
Yeah. And so you didn't think BJ and I were going to give you homework, but we are. We want you to take charge and start your own, you know, entrepreneur meetup or
Yeah.
virtual meetup or have a coffee clutch or drinks after work. And don't pick 20 people, pick like 3 or 4 and just try and just get them to commit. Just say, look, it's an hour. Just
Mhm.
come and you know what? Don't tell them that you're going to do it every month. Just say, let's all get together. That's all.
Right. No pressure. No pressure.
So, in conclusion, we've talked about 4 major action items: hybrid events, focusing on quality, using social media that accelerate it, and also do it yourself networking. We've given you 4 different items to help energize your networking.
And we want you to push toward this new networking scene. You embrace it, get it going. You've got your tools, they're all ready. You got to get going and doing it. That's going to be your best thing. Well, that's it for today. To our audience, let's keep this podcast momentum going. Share this episode on LinkedIn, Instagram, X, Threads, wherever you are. Blue Sky with the hashtag the best small business show. Spread the word and keep your community growing by subscribing to our show.
And we can't end this podcast without a big shout out to our editor and producer, Richard Scalzo, for making us sound professional in every episode. Folks, have an unbelievable week. Crush those goals, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Thanks a lot.